Okay, so moving on now to the paper 2s. Paper 2, remember, you're allowed to use a calculator. And as with the other ones, what I've done here is work out at what point we start accessing the GCSE grades. So we need to get the first 4 right in order to start grading. Okay, second page formally, we'll come back to it if we need it. Question 1 then. Jack buys 4 magazines at 68p each and 3 loaves of bread at £1.27 each. How much does he spend altogether? Now the best thing to do here is to always work in the same unit. So either use pence for that one, 127 pence, or what would be more sensible would be to use pounds for that and write that as 0.68. So it's going to come to 4 lots of 0.68, which is £2.72, and 3 lots of £1.27, which is £3.81, and then you want to add those two together to get the total cost. £3.81 plus £2.72, £6.53. 4 friends go to the cinema. The tickets cost £4.38 each. They pay for the tickets with a £20 note. How much change should they receive in total? So first of all, work out the total cost, which will be 4 lots of £4.38. That's £17.52. So the change will be 20 less £17.52, which is £2.48. And as I've said many times in class, when you're doing any multi-stage calculations on an exam paper, show your workings out. You may make a little mistake, press a wrong button on your calculator, but you're still going to get method marks for both of those questions if you make a little arithmetic slip up. Okay, question 2. These are fairly regular questions. Write the half as a decimal. Well, what would 100 divided by 2 by? 50. So a half would be 0.50. 0.6 as a fraction would be 6, and what we have with these is just like you have units and tens and hundreds going that way, this way you have tenths, hundredths, and so on. So what we have there is 0.6 is 6 tenths. So written as a fraction, that would be 6 tenths. And on this one, write 40% as a decimal. 40% is the same as 40 pence written in pounds, which is that. So that question is a little bit different. Normally those, they'd ask you on each one to write as decimal, as decimal, as decimal. This one they've asked you to do a bit more work as well. But in order to write them in descending order, which is highest down to lowest, or largest to smallest, is the decimal comparisons we're going to make. So the biggest number there is 0.6. Okay, to 2 decimal places we'd write it like that. So you'd have 0.6, then you'd have a half, then you'd have 40%. And again, as I've said many times in class, what you should do when you're writing that is use them in the same form that they're given to you. Okay, part B, it's a fraction that we have to write this as, so you need to count how many shaded there are. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the total number of shapes in the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 4/9. The fraction not shaded will be 5/9 in order to make it add up to 9/9, or you can just count the white squares. Okay, question 3. Now, just in the same way as when we're working out what the little squares are on a graph, we do the same thing with the scale on a weighing scales. From here, with this one, we've got to go from 0 to 100 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps. So 100 divided into 5 equal jumps will be 20 grams each. So each of these little dashes is 20 grams. So this toy car is going to go around to 400, 420, 440 grams. For this scale, we're going from 300 to 400, so that's 100 grams in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each one of those, 100 divided by 10 is 10 grams. So each little one of these is 10 grams. So we need 440 grams. So there's 400, 10, 20, 30, 40. And we're going to draw a pointer 10, 20, 30, 40 there to show that weight. Okay, more scales. How much heavier is the toy bus than the toy van? So again, let's check the scales here. I think they're different. So here we go from 300 to 400 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each one of those is 10 grams. So that weight there is going to be 380 grams. On this scale, we're going from 500 to 1 kilogram. So that's a jump of 500 grams. Halfway would be 250. So from there to there would be 250 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 250 divided by 10 is 25. So each one of these is 25 grams. So 500, 25, 550, 575, 600, 625, 650 is what that one is there. Now what this question is asking is what's the difference? How much heavier is the toy bus than the toy van? So you're going to have to do 650 grams, take away 380 grams. So it's 270 gram difference. Okay, so with any scale, take two that you know the value of and then count the number of jumps there are in between and divide that 250 in that example by the number of jumps. Okay, so this is a pretty common question again, where they're asking you to estimate the area of a shape, but occasionally you get one where you aren't just working with centimetre squares. If you see here, what they're saying is by counting squares, estimate the area of the shape if each square represents an area of 10 centimetres squared. So first of all, we'll count the squares, and what you do is you basically count anything that is more than half covered. And to show you a method, just put a little mark in it, or you can count, put numbers in as a running total as you go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll count that one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. So none of the others you would count. So 51 squares. And because each square represents 10 centimeters squared, you would then multiply that by 10 to give 510 centimeters squared as the area of the shape. Okay, so watch out for that where it's not centimeter squares, they actually represent a larger area. Okay, 4b. Right, you've just got to know these. Distance from the outside, from the center of a circle to the circumference is known as the radius. A line that crosses through a circle but not through the center is known as a chord. The name of each of these shapes. That's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, so it's a hexagon. That's a cone, and that's a cuboid. It's not a cube because not all the same sides are the same length. And that gets us into our G grade. Okay, formulas, these crop up very often indeed. We've got a formula here which represents the amount paid to repair a washing machine. Here's the formula. Amount paid is £15.50 times the number of hours plus £56. The first part is always just plugging numbers into that formula to find whatever it is the formula gives you. So the amount paid is going to be £15.50 is a part of the formula, times the number of hours, which is 6, plus 56. Now you always work out the multiplication bit first. So on your calculator, you do £15.50 times 6, and then press equals before adding the 56. £149. And then usually the second part is a bit more work to do because the unknown will be one of the variables on this side. So find the number of hours when the amount paid is £118. So again, everything goes in exactly as it is in the formula they give you. So the amount paid is 118 equals £15.50 times the number of hours, which I'll call n because I don't know it, plus 56. So what that gives us is an equation which has got two steps to solve. First of all, you get rid of the add 56 by doing the opposite of adding 56, which is subtracting 56. So this side we're going to have 118 take 56 equals 1550 times n. Work out what that is. So 62 is 1550 times n. Now to get the n on its own, you've got to undo the times 1550. The opposite of timesing by 1550 is dividing. Opposite of multiply, divide. So we do 62 divide 1550 equals n. We do that in our calculator. 62 is already there. Divide 1550 equals 4. So the number of hours is 4. If you forget how to do that, you could do it just by trial and error into that formula. Okay, you know that 6 hours is £149, so 118 is going to be less than 6, so you could try 5 and 4 and so on, and you get the same answer. Okay, so to get our F grade, question 6. Picture shows a large boat with a man standing on the deck. Showing all your working, estimate the length of the boat. Now in most of the questions where we practice this in the old style paper, there's two steps. First of all, they will ask you what you estimate the height of the man to be. This is a little bit trickier because they don't ask you that. You've got to make that step yourself. So height of man. Hopefully most of you are coming around now to the idea that he's 2 meters tall. Yes, you can use 6 feet, but it makes the maths harder. Make life easier for yourself, work in meters. Right, now I know that that height of that man is going to represent 2 meters. So if I get my ruler and measure the height of the man, the height of the man there is about, let's say 1.5 centimeters. So if we now see how many 1.5 fit into here, so there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, call it 8. Okay, so the height of the man is 2 meters. The boat length will be 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 2 equals 16. And again, make sure you put your units on there. So it's exactly the same as all the ones we've done previous to this on other past papers, but they're not making you write that down yourself. You've got to take that step. There's our F grade. Question 7, reading a table. The table below shows the basic hotel costs for 10-night holidays with certain arrival dates in August. So that's what this table is telling you. If you arrive on August the 6th, every adult is going to be charged £546, each child £265. August the 16th, a different price, and so on. On top of that basic cost, you can choose to pay more for extras. Okay, so the extras, the supplements, in this case, an extra £5 for a sea view, an extra £3 for a balcony, and that's per person per night. So that's important, that's not just a flat rate. So Mr. and Mrs. Bickford book a 10-night holiday for themselves and their 2 children with an arrival date of August the 26th. So this is August the 26th, so these are the figures that I'm working with. They decide to book a room with a sea view and a balcony. So they're going to be paying each of those supplements. Calculate the total amount that they have to pay the hotel. Okay, so the adults are each £485. So we've got £485 plus £485, that's for the 2 adults, and then they've got 2 children, so that's plus 254 plus 254. So let's add that up first of all. So that's £1,478 for the cost of the hotel. Then we've got the supplements. So the supplements will be 5 plus 3, £8 per person. So £8 per person is 4 times per night 10 nights. Okay, £8 because they're paying for the sea view and the balcony, and that's per person, and there are 4 people, per night 10 nights. So you've got to do 8 times 4 times 10. So that's an additional £320 that they're going to pay for the extra sea view and balcony. So the total cost of the holiday will be 1478 plus 320 £1,798. Alright, so just to go through the key things there again, you've got to decide which row from this top table you're going to take your prices, and this is the trigger for that. August 26th is that one. So that's the adult cost, that's the child cost. We've got 2 adults and 2 children. The total cost there is 1478. Then the supplements, the extras, are per person per night an extra £8 times the 4 people times the 10 nights. That's the cost of the supplements. Add the 2 together, gives you your total cost of your holiday. 5 marks for that. Okay, now we're into the algebra questions, and if we get through these, then we're into the E gradings. So David is X years old, Jane is 5 years younger. That means that she's going to be less old than David. And if you get confused with this, rather than work with X, give David an age. Let's say David is 15. If David is 15 and Jane is 5, how old is Jane? 10. What did you do? You took 5 off. So you're going to take 5 off X. A car is R meters long. A trailer of length 8 is attached to the car. What is the overall length of the car and the trailer? Well, if you're confused with R, let's say the car is 10 meters long. If the car is 10 meters long and the trailer is 8, the overall length would be 18. What did you do? You added them together. So that's what you do. R add 8. A ticket costs T pounds. How much would 12 tickets cost? Well, let's say the ticket cost £5. What would 12 tickets cost then? £60. What did you do? You multiplied them together. So that's what we do with the T. T times 12. Or you could write that as 12T. The same thing. B. Use the formula F equals 3P plus 2R to find the value of F when P is 9 and R is 11. Now the key thing to remember here is that when we replace the letters with those numbers, there's an arithmetic sign between the 3 and the P, which is a multiply, it's a times. We don't write that in algebra because it looks like an X. But as soon as we replace that P with a number, we write it in. So instead of writing P, I've written 9. Instead of writing R, I've written 11. And you do those multiplications before you add. So 3 9s are 27, 2 11s are 22. So you add those together and you're going to get 49. These are 2 fairly straightforward equations. Remember, we're still in the first half of the paper, so they're going to be single step. 1 step to go from the equation to the answer. Here you want to get the x on its own, so you have to deal with the subtract 4. You have to get rid of that by doing the opposite of subtract 4, which is add 4. If you add 4 to that side, you have to add 4 to the other side as well. So 7 add 4 is 11. And you can check that's right. If x was 11, 11 take away 4 is 7. Same thing here. To get the y in its own, I'm going to do the opposite of that. Now y over 6, in algebra over means divide, so that's saying y divide by 6. You go to the opposite of dividing by 6, which is multiplying by 6. So 12 6s 72. That gets us into the E grade. Question 9, averages question. So you need to be clear going into the exam which average is which. Okay, the mean is usually the most work, so it tends to carry the most marks. The mean is, it is mean because it's the most work, so that's the one where you need to add them all up first of all and then divide by however many pieces of data there are. So we're going to do 84, add 61, add 56. So let's do that now. So the mean will be be 408 divided by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items of data. 51. So the mean number of goals is 51. For the range, you need to have them in order, or you need to know what the smallest and the largest are, and we have to do that anyway to find the median. So let's list those now in order. So the smallest number there is 19. Put a little check next to it so you know that you've counted it. The next one is 28, followed by 36, followed by 52, followed by 56, followed by 61, followed by 72, followed by 84. Just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So once they're in order, the range is easy. It's going to be 84 take away 19. So let's go back and do that now. 65. And the median is the middle number if you've got a middle number, but we won't have a middle number here because it's even. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got those two with 3 that side, 3 that side. If that's the case, you need to go halfway between these two. So you add them up. So you do 56 add 52, which is 108, and divide by 2. So the median is 54. Okay, 6 add 2 is 8, half 8, 4, 54. Okay, question 10. This will get us our D grade, and again this is slightly different. A rectangle has one side of length 12, and they're telling me that the area of the rectangle is 60. Now I know, you need to know, that in order to find the area of a rectangle I need to know the length and the width. Length times width is area. So length times width, 12 times W, I know is the area, and I know that's 60. So again, what we've got there is a single stage equation. To get the W on its own, I'm going to undo times 12. Opposite times by 12 is dividing by 12. 60 divided by 12 is 5. So I've worked out my width is 5 centimeters. So now the perimeter is going to be the distance all the way around. So to go from there, I'm going to travel that distance, and that distance, and that distance, and that distance to get back to the start. So 12 add 5 is 17, add 12 is 29, add 5 is 34. And the units of perimeter are, it's just length, it's just distance, centimeters. So that gets me to my D grade.